Hey guys, today I will be desoldering the flight controller connectors, motor connectors from the board and trying to adjust the holes in the pickle frame. This is version 1 pickle frame for the 12 amp whoop style flight controller. Doesn't really fit properly, it's not aligning on the mounting holes, so I will be adjusting that and also desoldering the motor connectors. That way I can just mount it flat on the frame. Alright, let me set everything up and we'll be right back. Alright, let's look at this. This is plastic. I'm not going to use the air gun to desolder this. It's just going to melt it. I'm going to try to use a different tip on this soldering iron. I got a KU style T12 tip. I will try to use that for desoldering the connectors. It looks like it might work. If it doesn't, I'm going to try my old school soldering iron. I do have more tips on the way. We'll see if this one doesn't work. We'll definitely get some more tips later, but we'll try to do that. I know some people actually like to wiggle back and forth the connectors and just kind of break them off and solder the wires to the pads. I'm just going to try to desolder first. I know a little extra step, I mean extra time, but hopefully it'll be better. And I'm just curious if I can desolder them cleanly. At least try. And then again we'll try to mount this here and adjust. I do have little files that I just purchased. I'm going to show you this. They come with a pack. They're kind of like this. Just little files. And I will try to expand this hole for the USB, micro USB. Just kind of expand it a little bit. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but we'll check it out. We'll see. This is version 1 of the frame, and it does have a smaller micro USB hole. Wasn't really designed for the 12 amp flight controller. Alright, let me mount this on my little cheapy stand, and we'll see. And I gotta change the tip on this iron. Alright, see if that's gonna work. Okay, never used the tip, brand new. We'll see if that's gonna do it. Some of that stuff I'm gonna be moving. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna try to grab this connector with pliers and kind of take this solder and just kind of not solder, take this tip and soldering iron and try to heat it up and desolder that. Let me turn on the iron. Okay. Let's see, let's get this to 370, somewhere around that. Let's see, a little bit of solder. Alright. Okay. try to desolder that. Alright, so looks like it did desolder, but I did lose one of the pins from the connector. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's only two. It got stuck. I guess it got hot, so in the plastic in the connector just melted. So let me get this. There you go. So I got this one out. Let me get this one. A little bit of solder here, and then just gonna try to wiggle that once it gets hot. There we go. Again, two of them only. One more out of here. There we go. Okay, it's odd. It's two at a time. Goes 2 out of 2. Alright, let's swap that. Okay. These pads look nice on this side. Alright, what's the better way without damaging? Okay. See, a little bit of solder. Yeah. A little bit of solder right here. And then what we're going to do is going to do the same thing. Grab this connector. I like this tip. This tip is really nice. Let's see. There we go. Now look, we got 3 this time. Good. Alright, and one more. I'm trying to record and everything, so the camera's a little bit on the way. You can definitely pretty much do it faster. Just probably apply a bigger solder blob on the entire, those connectors, I mean. There we go. 2 this time only. Let's grab the last one. Okay. Yeah, this stand sucks. That's all I had. There we go. Let's see. So we got the connectors desoldered. Okay. Let's see how it turned out. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to solder on this side, the wires, or the outer side. The pads are definitely larger on this side and be probably better connection overall. But we'll see. We'll see what the routing is, how the routing will be for this. Alright, let's try to tin this. Okay, pre-tune them. Let's see. And I am going to change my tip after it cools off a little bit. Oh. Turn that off. Now let's see how USB aligns with the mounting holes. This USB is wide. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see it, but the top, it's not perfectly aligning. It's actually going to be hitting the bolt I'm going to be using, and here, as you can see, it's not. It's a little ways away from the hole, so that's not going to even reach the vibration isolator that they sent out was the flight controller. So I definitely have to kind of file down maybe 1 or 2 millimeter, probably, yeah, 1 or 2, and see if that's gonna help. But version 2 of this frame is actually has a bigger hole for micro USB, and there's version 3. It also has a little bit of improvements, and this side right here of the frame, this is the skinniest part of the frame. That's where the most breakage is occurring. So I'm not going to be trashing on this frame a lot, but just kind of to do a proof of concept, and then hopefully I'm going to get my hands on the version 3. No one's selling it yet. Have to custom order it. Alright, let's see which files I can use. I have a different set of files, and I don't know which one is better than. There's a flat. And by the way, these are the files I'm using. They're the cheapy kind of Harbor Freight jobbies. I believe they were like $2.99, $3. So yeah, let's see. Alright, let's see. It's gonna take a while, man. This stuff is probably not really healthy for me. Just gonna take my Dyson with HEPA filter and vacuum it out. Later, probably I'll have to pause it, the video, if I do that for obvious reasons. You guys don't want to watch me vacuum. Let's see. Okay, we got about 0.5 millimeter. Let's see. I don't know if you guys see this or not, but alright. These files are pretty good, actually, surprisingly working really well. Okay, and then look at there, I can do the corners too. Move around. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to get too far because the frame is actually getting really skinny on this side. Alright, let's check it out. Okay, where's my little... Yeah, I don't know if I like this. I should have... Anyway, nice. Nice, nice, nice. It's actually looking almost perfect. Almost perfect. Let's see how it's... And see, I don't know if I want it to be touching the frame, so I'm gonna do it just a little bit, probably like 0.5 millimeter more, because I don't want the micro USB touching the frame, because if it vibrates, then there's no purpose for the anti-vibration mounts. Almost done. Okay. Ooh, I'm getting really close. Okay, I'm gonna just do a little bit of, just get the edges gold. Alright. Okay. Let's see now. Okay. still a little bit, I can feel it's touching the frame. It's not as bad though. It's definitely not as bad. Room for play. It's definitely maybe a little bit more. Just a tad more. Maybe just a tad more. Just a tad. And let's do the round one a little bit, this corner. Yeah, it's getting a little close to the ends. We'll see. Alright. This is good. This is good. Now I can see there's a room to move it around. Alright. I like it. It's good. Ah, now I made this dirty. Okay. This stuff is probably bad for you to breathe in. Not probably. Guarantee it. I'll wash it later. Alright. Cool, cool. So the way I'm planning to mount this is I'm going to be using M2s, and these are either 12 or 16, forgot. Let's see. They're 11. So they're 11s. They're kind of short. I actually ordered some bigger ones, so they're not going to work out probably for some of the mounts, because some of the 3D printing mounts, if looking for this US 2 mount, it's a 2mm thick, so that might not work. Let's see. Oops. Okay. Let's see. Just gonna put optimally, I think, plastic nut in this position actually would work better. It's lighter and it serves the same purpose. Doesn't need to be metal nut, it just needs to hold the screw in place. So, and again, this is, I'm going to tighten all this, and I'm just kind of trying to do a proof of concept and try to figure out the best mounting scenario here. And I'm waiting for more nuts to come. Alright. Okay. So I'll hand tighten. You probably need to use like a small pliers or something to tighten this. Okay, and then what I want to use is I want to put these on like that. That might not work. And of course I'm missing one. Of course I am missing one. And these suckers are hard to find. You know why? Because they're clear. Yep. So we'll just use something, one of the black ones. I guess I'll look around for it. It's probably in my carpet somewhere. Yeah, that's going to be fun to find. Anyway, this probably should just give me an idea of how it fits. This is annoying. They're falling out. Just put them on first, I guess. Okay. Let's see. Okay, this one's on. And then, yeah. Okay, so that gives me just a perfect amount of distance. I might even want to go smaller a tad, because I do have plenty of room here between the frame and flight controller, but we do need to give it some gap for the airflow, cooling purposes. But yeah, looks good, and of course I mounted wrong. Interesting. So let's remount that. See how the USB turned out, because that's the main reason why we are doing all this right now, is to get this little USB going. Interesting. Yep, this is not working out. Okay, one's in, 2 in, 3 in, and one last one. Okay, a little tight here, hard to see. There we go. Looks like, okay, I don't like that this bolt is kind of touching. It's not touching, I can fit my fingernail, but again it's it is touching the frame a little bit, so I might need to file a little bit more. I don't know if you guys can see it, but and plus this bolt head is too close to it, so I might have to file that bolt head, just make it a flat, so it kind of stays away from the. Again, this is V1, version 1 of the frame. Alright, but essentially this is how it's going to be. Just going to use this flight controller, and these are the guys I'm going to be using as motors. Beta FPV 5000 kV. These are 1105s. I know they're supposedly running on 4S, so we'll see. I know this is not optimal for 4S, but well, I just want to experiment. Why not, if I can? So plenty of wire length, at least for this frame. So probably I don't know if I should go on top, on the bottom. Either way, it's going to be the same thing. If I go on the bottom, I can actually go under the frame and do something like this, but on the bottom, right? So you'll have like a frame going like that, and the motor's going like that, and the wire's going under the frame and to that. So maybe I should leave the distance between the frame and the flight controller the same as it is now. So these wires are pretty good length. So my camera died, didn't let me finish. I was just showing the placement of the motors and what's next. I think I'm going to keep the flight controller the same distance from the frame as it is now. I will try to route the wires under the flight controller and solder them underneath the board. That way this area is all free from wires, at least from the motor wires, and then VTX wires obviously going to be there. So basically the wires are long enough to do that. I don't need any extensions or anything. So we'll come back later, and I will cut these ends off the motors, maybe pull them out, I don't know yet, and we'll solder the motors to the flight controller, just to get an idea. I will have to take the flight controller off the frame to do that, and just solder every motor to the flight controller and then test fit it. I'll be back. Alright, so now I got the frame off of the flight controller, or flight controller off of the frame. I will be tining the pads, the motor pads on flight controller, cutting some wires, cutting connectors from the motors, and soldering them to the flight controller. Alright, let's start. Let's tin the motor pads. Alright, I'm going to be using this tip. I think it's a BC2, if I'm not mistaken. Just clean that tip. Let's see. Okay, get some solder. By the way, I'm using this solder, really good solder. Recommend. Okay. Okay. Let's get some flux. Okay. A little solder. 1, 2, 3. I know you guys can see it. Alright, a little bit more solder. 1, 2, 3. Alright. So let me turn down the soldering iron. Okay. Let's see, let's cut the wires off. I'm going to cut the wires off of the motors. Probably going to do something like this, because we got plenty of room on the wires. Okay. So cut that off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel the coating off. Pre-tin that. I should probably using pliers, but the wires are so tiny that might not work. Probably be harder with pliers than it is with hands. Alright. Turn my solder on. Okay. Put some flux on those babies. Okay. Let's make the temperature higher. Alright. Okay. Clean our tip. Okay. Alright. Clean our tip. Okay, let's try to solder this guy onto the flight controller. Okay. So let's see. let's start from the right to left. A little bit of flux, a little bit of solder, some kind. Alright, I don't see them touching. Just gonna go over and yep, that's clean. Alright, one motor, 3 to go. Pain. Yeah, these connectors are much nicer, right? You just plug them in. Okay. Again, let's do this. One. Oh, forgot to turn down my... Just turn that off. Yeah. Okay. Now this one's going to be too long. Well, we'll cut it after we some solder on them. This one's actually too short. Okay. Okay. Clean the tip. Oh, I got one of the strands sticking out. Okay. Let me cut that strand off. I'm gonna wait. These are Chinese clippers. They're a piece of crap. They don't work. I'm looking to get some else. Yeah. This is very tiny and annoying wire. It's probably gonna touch another wire in the motor. And I'm gonna crash my my quad. Okay, let's make them a little bit shorter so we're not... Oh, look at there. This thing got right under the Flight Controller. Okay, a little bit of flux. Not a lot. Ooh, that was a lot. Alright, let's start from left to right now and see how that goes. Okay, 330. Clean and be wider since we're working with such a tight areas. We want to make sure everything is okay. So 350, clean the tip. Two is done. Let's turn this off for now. Okay, let's see. So the way it's gonna go is we'll have to put them underneath That might not work, but we will see. Let's check it out. Okay, got this. So it looks like I might have. Looks like I should have soldered that. Yeah, but there's no way there are MOSFETs there. We can just route it, kind of like we'll route the motor wire this way. So it might have to be like a little wire sticking out a little. This is what I forgot to solder in, but I will solder that later together with my VTX and the receiver. And I might be able to fit the receiver in, but right now I'm just going to make sure that the motors are mounted properly, and they're all kind of can get screwed on the frame, onto the frame. I got these screws that I will use. Okay, so the frame's gonna go like that, the motor's gonna go like that. I don't know, guys, you can see it or not. Screw. Okay. And then we've got to get. I know someone mentioned that these motors are kind of fragile. I don't know if. I know the previous version of 1103s, I believe it was. Not a previous version, but the 1103 motors from Beta FPV are kind of fragile. I don't know if that's the case with these. I'm sure they're made in the same manufacturer, so they might be the same. We'll see. Alright, and we got this guy. Okay, so just one screw mounts. I'm okay with this. Just kind of put a ties up here. The wires are kind of sticking out a little bit right here. It would be nice to perhaps route them kind of towards the motor, but this works. So this is what it's gonna look like. I'm kind of actually excited to try it out. So tomorrow I'll be soldering the VTX and the power connector, and we can just test fly this sucker. I'll probably just tie this flight controller with like a temporary tie and fly without a canopy. I don't really have a canopy yet, so that's the next thing. It's on the way. I'm going to be using these props. These are 65mm. I believe they're designed for sailfly, so I got them from Banggood, but I don't know, never tested them out. I do have King Kong props, and I do have to still drill them out to 1.5 because these motors are 1.5. But yeah, these props are hopefully will be okay. At least for initial flight, and then we'll be testing different props. Okay. A bit off here. Okay. Okay, so that's what it's gonna look like when install done, and then we'll have a canopy. I don't know why. I might use a bright lime green canopy. I don't know, a yellow canopy or something. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, let's do a next video. I will be soldering the power connector, receiver, or junkie receiver. I have our XSR on the way, and this is TBS Unify Nano Pro 32. Gets kind of hot. Alright, we'll continue next video. Thanks.